Welcome back to New Rockstars. I'm Jessica Clemons, and for a really long time, I think we all knew that Taskmaster wasn't gonna make it out of Thunderbolts. When she was featured in small bursts in the trailers, only at specific locations in the trailers, and Marvel had to remove her or add her in some footage, it just became a mess, and we all knew that she was going to die. Though it turns out from the Thunderbolts original writer, Eric Pearson, that there was a full arc for Taskmaster that would have kept her through to the end of the movie that inevitably was cut. So what was cut? Why did they have to kill Taskmaster? And why did it have to be Ghost that killed Taskmaster? Well, in this video, we'll review the latest from interviews and pieces covering and remembering Taskmaster. But first, before we rip, be sure to check out nerdriot.shop where you can always find the latest and greatest in New Rockstars merch. Right now, we've got some Thunderbolts merch for you because you're ready for Thunderbolts. Go back to the theaters and see it and wear our really cool shirt with everybody on the Thunderbolts, and that includes Taskmaster and Valentina because Valentina's kind of roped into it now. If you don't want to wear that merch, we got Fantastic Four merch for you, ready and shipped, ready for you. What are you waiting for? Go look at it. And also, again, because I almost forgot to mention, we also have merch for The Last of Us. You can get the merch with Ellie's tattoo or the WLF hat that I love wearing so much. Okay, so the original Thunderbolt script was touched by so many. However, unlike other Marvel movies, it wasn't touched that much. According to Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier in an interview with the game's Radar, when he first jumped on working with Eric Pearson, it was about finding the balance with Bob and the team, and of course, including the soccer team bit, because we all like that. For those of you who don't know, Eric Pearson has been working with Marvel for a minute now to help polish and finish the writing for some of their movies. He assisted with Black Widow, he co-wrote the screenplays for Thor Ragnarok, and contributed to the scripts for the Fantastic Four First Steps, along with many other Marvel credits. Later, when Netflix's The Beef creator Lee Sung-jin came in, they focused on Yelena going through a dark phase in her life in smaller scenes and character scenes. Lee Sung-jin mentioned he was working off the earlier script done by Eric Pearson. Still, things came up that pulled him away from the project, and thus Joanna Callow, the Bear showrunner who also wrote on The Beef, came in and balanced out those team dynamics that played off each other very well in The Vault, and she helped get that script to the finish line. Everybody here at New Rockstars has a Helix mattress, and we love it. It's one of the perks of working with Helix for years, and I swear to you, whenever I gotta travel or sleep in some bed other than my own, I notice that the mattress is just not Helix quality. Finding your perfect mattress is so easy thanks to Helix's sleep quiz. Just answer a few questions and you'll get fit with a mattress that's perfect firmness and temperature for you. I wanted a medium firm mattress with lumbar support that sleeps cool, and I got matched with the Dusk Luxe Helix mattress. I've had it for years now and it's fantastic. Before Helix, it would take me forever to fall asleep, and I never really wake up feeling that rested. Now I fall asleep so fast and I wake up feeling great every single day. Helix has something for everybody. They offer 20 unique mattresses, including the award-winning Luxe and Ultra Premium Elite collections, Helix Plus for big and tall sleepers, and the Helix Kids mattress. And if you're not ready to replace your mattress just yet, but you want to layer some Helix comfort on top, you can, thanks to Helix's new mattress topper collection. Our beloved old-time friend, producer Evan, got himself a premium mattress topper, and he's been loving flopping down on it every day after a long day of streaming. Helix delivers right to your door with free shipping in the US, and the mattress comes rolled up in a box and is super easy to set up yourself. I love my Helix mattress, and I think you would too. From now until the end of May, you can take advantage of Helix's Memorial Day exclusive partner offer. You'll get 27% off site-wide, plus a free bedding bundle with any Luxe or Elite mattress order. Just click the link in the description below to get started, and thanks again for Helix for sponsoring this video. Pearson's original story arc for Taskmaster was completely changed somewhere between Kalo and Lee Sung-jin's script. After sitting in an earlier screening, Pearson said it shocked the hell out of him to see what happened to Taskmaster, and arguably, it shocked the hell out of all of us because it was a straight bullet through her head. In the movie, after being led on Valentina's wild goose hunt for each other to take the other out in the vault, none succeeded but Ghost in her fake hit on Taskmaster, and she never comes back. She just died. She's mentioned again later with a little bit of remorse, but that's about it. She is dead and gone. Ashes to ashes. Pearson told Polygon that from what he saw, the rest of the movie he wrote is basically in there. It was just the death of Taskmaster that wasn't. He said he doesn't know why Taskmaster was removed from the movie, but if he was to guess, it would be to get the reaction that he had as an audience member, that they're doing something drastic really fast and we're putting everybody on edge. He went on to say the final draft of the script had Taskmaster survive for the entire movie. She actually ended up bonding with Ava's ghost, the woman who shot her in the head, seeing as they both have similar upbringings, being raised in a lab and trained as a weapon, and I'm sure they both inevitably would have similar hurdles and bad memories linked to their fathers, which we all wanted to see the Void Visions for everyone. I mean, I know they're all traumatic, but we all wanted to see it, and my lord, to see Ghost save Ava out of hers, which I'm sure is just the pain rippling through her body, or the non-stop witnessing of her dad dying again and again and again, just to be encouraged to pull herself out of it by Ghost. This is something that would have been nice for my heart. I would have loved to see, but I understand it would have probably not helped the whole story. It would have just solidified more individual stories and arcs, which again, my heart would have loved to see, but Marvel didn't have time for it probably. Pearson also added, and Ava, having won her autonomy earlier in the chronology than Taskmaster, was kind of big sistering her a little bit, in a way of how to break free and be your own person. And I think this is all really interesting and justified action between Ava and Taskmaster, something I would have loved to see, but I understand in terms of removing things, this feels like something we've seen Yelena and Natasha, or Gamora and Nebula, or even a smaller mentor or trainee role of like Kate and Hawkeye, or Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel. All these relationships we kind of seen. Beyond being big and little, they also focus on each other's growth beyond their preconceived restrictions. This concept just isn't new for Marvel, but it wouldn't propel the entire team's plot forward as well. That's why I'm assuming they may have cut it. But from a better perspective, Pearson did speak on how Taskmaster's presence would have worked as some self-reflection for the team, seeing as she had it the worst. More so, he says, she was kind of the ultimate tragedy. In the old tragedy rankings, she was at the top. In the other bigger personalities, no one could get out of line because no one could say, I had it worse than you, which this isn't a competition, I recognize that, but arguably I think Ghost and Yelena had it way worse than Taskmaster. Maybe that's just me. I digress. I think this is a great idea, but I could see that it does not help the plot to outweigh each other's trauma constantly throughout the movie. I think it was a great play to just have their own self-reflection and their past and recognize their own faults. I don't need to use Taskmaster as guilt or a self-reflection tool. I'd rather she were just not in the movie if that were the case. Though, in a very funny addition that I genuinely would have loved to see, Pearson said that there was a running joke where Taskmaster tended to forget they've all moved past trying to assassinate each other. She was struggling with her own memory loss stuff, and there was a gag where she just kept restarting the fight and forgetting that they had made up and become friends. They would be discussing the plan of how to get out of the vault, and she'd just go over to John Walker again, and they'd all have the pig pile on top of her and pull her off and be like, no, we know each other. We had this conversation before. I think that's really funny, and I do really like that gag. However, he suggested the bit with her memory loss was probably cut because they already had that going with Bob, which would have been a bit redundant. Overall, I was really sad to see Taskmaster go. I was a little sad because it was with so much disrespect. Still, I understand if it felt like her parts were slowing the story down or pulling too much focus away from Yelena or the group as a whole. If the beats were also the same beats as Bob had, I understand removing that as well, but originally, writing a story where Ava and Taskmaster are helping each other and building a bond to have Ava be the one to offer is just dirty as hell. I don't know, I hate it. I think that was partly due to the fact that it couldn't be anyone else that killed Taskmaster. It had to be Ghost. It couldn't be Yelena because she would have to question Valentina and attempt to reason with Taskmaster because of their past, which I don't believe was treated like anything in the Thunderbolts movie, but to each their own. You know, I recognize why they maybe didn't approach it too much. I will say that Pearson notes they didn't want there to be too much looking into the past, so maybe that's why they moved past Taskmaster dying a little quickly for me, along with, you know, Yelena's ongoing depression and numbness to murder and death. It would have just slowed things down. And it also couldn't have been John Walker that killed her because we already dislike John Walker, and having him shoot a woman dead in the face doesn't sit right when you're trying to make him a hero. And Ghost was just really the last option, and it doesn't ruin our image of Ghost. She's always been really cutthroat, so she's just doing her job to us. If it was Bob, on the other hand, though, we'd all be skeptical, and the team would have immediately had to retaliate or protect themselves from his powers, so it just had to be Ghost. Taskmaster wasn't the only change from the original movie's plan. It's a bit conflicting of stories between Jake and Pearson, where the Thunderbolts director Jake Schreier said that Sentry wasn't in the draft that he read before he committed, but he was added to the very next one. To which Pearson said, I think he might be wrong on that one by one draft, but it's still interesting nonetheless because I can't see a draft where Sentry just isn't involved in this movie. Though Pearson did tell the Hollywood Reporter how John Walker was once in the middle of Valentina's plan instead of Sentry. There were a lot of versions where Valentina had planted this kind of time bomb inside John Walker, and the goal was to make him the most unlikable person on the team. Pearson goes on to say, he then becomes a monster and the Thunderbolts have to talk him down, and it didn't ever totally work. Pearson also told Screen Rant that Val would have manipulated Walker into thinking his super soldier serum was wearing off, which, as Screen Rant does point out, is very Samuel Stearns with President Ross in Brave New World, and Val would enhance Walker's powers until he was a ticking time bomb, which is an insane script to try to do. I'm so happy they went with Sentry instead. There were even early drafts where they handled more of the Yelena versus Hawkeye stuff that we saw in the Hawkeye series, though Pearson noted it wouldn't be that fair to call on people to remember what happened 4 years ago. And inevitably, things always change from early drafts, and unfortunately in Marvel, you can't go back on everything. It's hard to share this movie in connection with Black Widow and Hawkeye, but there's no way you can touch back on everything from Black Widow and Hawkeye. Overall, I think The Thunderbolts is a great movie. I had so much fun and I love it. And I'm emotionally sad just because losing Taskmaster was kind of, I don't know, I just felt like it was really dirty. Was I overjoyed with her in Black Widow? Of course not. But do I think she deserves to get an extra hole in her head? Absolutely not. This woman has gone through everything. She was a little girl that had to be subjected to become a robot. Like, I just feel bad. I just feel bad. However, I believe retooling makes sense because a lot of the original draft looks like they would have stayed inside the vault, and I think they had a lot more fun outside of the vault. I think I also tested them as an actual team outside of the vault. Also, along with the pacing, it just feels a lot nicer with the rewrites. I think they did a great job. Comment down below your thoughts. How do you feel about this being a ticking time bomb Hulk story for US Agent? Or how do you feel about Taskmaster dying? Did you feel it was necessary? Our girl. Remember to comment down below your thoughts, and a special thanks to one of our YouTube members, Marisa Miranda, who supports us at the executive producer level. Follow me at Lulu_Clemons. Subscribe to all 3 channels in the new Rockstars network for breakdowns and news coverage of everything you love. Thanks for watching. I love you, Taskmaster. R.I.P. Oh, our baby.